All right, I think we're live. Go 3, 2, 1. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool.
Sean. We got second episode in a single day.
Cranking them out.
Cranking them out, man. We haven't done two in a day in a while, so we had a great guest on our previous episode. We are getting closer and closer to episode 300. That's right around the corner, man.
I know.
We'll have to have some kind of big event for that one.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do. Maybe I'll buy one of them $20 bottles of beer.
We'll have a fine. Yeah, episode 300 requires something beyond just the pale, just an IPA or even a porter, your average porter or stout. You got to go beyond that. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah, one of the 750 milliliter bottles, $20.
Yes.
Hide the receipt from your spouse type.
Exactly.
Beer.
Perhaps even a nice bourbon. Perhaps
could do that. Scotch, bourbon, something.
Scotch. Yeah. I mean,
very well. Well, speaking of beverages, I think you're drinking the same as last episode.
Yes. Right. Yep. Back at the Terrapin Morning Haze.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be joining you with a hazy IPA, and this one I got because I was at the store and I just couldn't resist the nostalgia of the can. So it's called Heavy Hands, and it's basically
that looks like Mike Tyson's Punch Out or something. Oh, that's Mario. Oh, okay.
Mario's the referee, but I think it's so they have like this one's called Heavy Hands.
Okay.
Which I guess is probably the name of that boss. I don't remember. But then they have another one that's like Haymaker that has a similar look. Let me add them to the. So this is the Heavy Hands that I've got today. But then I was going through some of their other artwork. The Spindle Tap Brewery up out of Houston. But here's another one that's called the Haymaker.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So you remember these guys from the video game?
Yep. I love that game. That was one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah. So I think that's the only two that are the video game stuff, but their art's kind of all over the place as far as
it is. Look at that, man. Look at the old Houston Oiler tribute to the old Oilers there.
Yeah. Who are now the Titans.
Yeah.
So
I still call them the Oilers.
Yeah.
I'll always be the Oilers.
Yeah. Because now we have the Texans out here in Houston.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, they've got the oil rig, very Houston, if you've ever been to Houston, like everything on the south and east side of the city is oil companies.
Right.
Just everywhere. So this is a new brewery. I haven't had this one before, but it's a double IPA, 8% alcohol, and it is very, very, let me pull this screen down. It is very hazy.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's been sitting in the glass for a little while.
If I had a glass today, I'm pretty sure that's what mine would look like.
Yeah. So anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
Up. You grabbed a snack between shows, and I went downstairs, and Tamara had made banana bread. So I had a piece of banana bread.
Look at you. I love banana bread, by the way.
Oh, banana bread is like one of the greatest foods ever invented. I don't know who thought of that. Like, who said, "Oh, these rotten bananas, they'll make great bread." Like, who came up with that? That's just brilliant.
Oh yeah, we used to. Rachel used to put them in the freezer when they went.
Yeah,
when they went bad, and you should use them in some bread. Even I occasionally stop and get, Starbucks okay, but
there's nothing like homemade banana bread though.
Yeah.
Yeah, with it just
it's
right before the bananas go bad.
Big old slab of butter, after you just cut into it when it's warm out of the oven.
Yeah.
Man.
Little sugar topping, crispens it up the top. Like, so good. So good.
Yes, indeed.
That's what I had for my snack. But
man, well, I'm having some I didn't know Cheez-Its and I love Cheez-Its. I didn't know Cheez-Its had these things called grooves. These things are out of this world.
Really?
They're called grooves. They're sharp white cheddar grooves.
Oh, I love sharp cheddar, sharp white cheddar. We get these sticks of like pre-sliced sharp white cheddar from
yes, I
Cabot or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And we go through those things. We have like 4 of them in the fridge at all times because we just plow through them. So they're so good. Well, I'm gonna rate this real quick. I'm gonna give. It's actually not that bad. I think again, it's like yours. It's kind of the double IPA makes it a little better, more manageable. The higher alcohol, I think, tones down the citrus and the whatever. So I'm going to give it an even 3. Steady, it's good.
Not bad. Yeah, not bad at all.
I mean, if it was in the fridge among 3 other things, I probably wouldn't pick it. But it's not bad either.
No, not bad at all.
It doesn't knock me down when I drink it.
And some of that rating is just artwork alone, right? I mean, that's
yeah. I'd give the can a 4. I mean, that's a cool can. So, all right.
Well, I tell you, this one is, I gave this one a 2.8 on the last episode because this is the one I had on the previous. But I'm gonna tell you, man, with these Cheez-Its,
does it work?
It's actually a nice little combination. So I think
very nice.
I was like, if I had the Cheez-Its on the last episode, this might have gone above a 3.
That's interesting. That's an interesting pairing.
It is. It really is. So
I guess that makes sense. I mean, a little citrus with a little cheese. I guess it makes sense. All right. Well, today we're going to do a quick episode. Flight of persuasion here. A couple little things.
Sure.
I've got a letter that I received in the mail. Good old direct mail that we'll talk about. For a back end offer. And you got a couple things that you want to talk about. So
we're just like kids when we get a piece of direct mail.
I know, that's right. It's like are we getting old or are we just geeks? So I guess we're just direct mail geeks. But yeah, I got this. So I got this package in the mail.
Okay.
The faux FedEx, it's got the stuff on the back. Now, obviously, it was in the mailbox, so I knew it wasn't like a real overnight letter. But because we're in the business, so we know what this is. I was like, oh, cool. Somebody's sending out, these things. Like it's got to be a good, well-written letter if it's in one of these.
Yeah.
So I open it up, and it is from Russell Brunson. I am registered to go to Funnel Hacking Live next month.
Oh, fun.
So maybe we'll do a show. I'll do a show.
That would be awesome.
From there.
Yeah.
It's down in Orlando this year. But yeah, so I've signed up, I'm registered. So this is it's a letter that says, please, it's Russell with an email to his assistant, Jenny, that says, hey, we got this letter from Dan. Can you send this to all FHL attendees? Right. So that's the lift note part, kind of setting it up.
Right.
And then you get this, if you look at the top, it looks like a fax.
Oh,
because it's supposed to be a fax from Dan. I assume it probably actually was.
Yeah.
And on it, it's just from Dan Kennedy, urgent. And he goes through, the opening is, I'm writing to you personally because I'm told you are registered for the Funnel Hacking Live event, but you're not registered for the pre-day with me. So there's a pre-day with Dan Kennedy, which I didn't know anything about. And he goes through basically the 3 reasons why you might not have signed up and then why you should. So reason 1 is he's old and irrelevant.
That's awesome.
I know, right? Just like it's what we were talking about in the last episode. Like, be vulnerable. Like, what's the not perfect part?
Right.
So this kind of fits right in with that.
Yeah.
Reason number 2 was he hates the internet. Because people think he's only direct mail and space ads and stuff like that. And then reason number 3 was the extra day means extra inconvenience, the travel, the extra hotel, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes through and he systematically just, destroys each objection so that you want to come. In full disclosure, I did not sign up, so it didn't actually convert me, but
right.
And for the third
reason, old and irrelevant did not work on you, huh?
No, it was he did not overcome the third objection for me. So I really don't want to go a day early.
Yeah.
So 4 days is enough for me.
Sure. Yeah.
In one of those environments, but I'm sure it'll be a good event. I may change my mind between now and then if
Mm-hmm.
I get a second letter,
Mm-hmm.
who knows? He may sway me.
Dude, I
So
don't
yeah,
know, man. Just
but
having a picture next to Dan Kennedy before,
was like a
he's
6-hour day. I mean, I've never been in one of his full 6-hour. I think the longest talk I've been in with him was probably 2 hours.
yeah.
So it would be interesting to see what he does in a full day
Mm-hmm.
and what that's like. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what how he sounds. Everything we've seen everything we've seen and heard is previous. It's like for the most part, it's like 5-10 years back. So
Yeah.
recently, what his
Well,
health
he's going to
is
have.
would be interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, we
he's
did
going to
an
have
entire podcast. I mean, a couple of years
eulogy.
ago about we basically gave him a eulogy and
Then he comes back
sent him
from the
out to
dead.
sea.
I called that on the show too. I was like, if he comes back, he's gonna come back and use this.
That's right.
Sure enough, he rose from the dead. So
yep. Yeah, exactly.
Now he probably puts that in his letters.
Yeah, I think they use some of our stuff in their promotion. Like it's like crazy.
Yeah, that's right. I did see. There was a screenshot of our show in somebody's thing. I can't remember who it was now, but I think it was Russell Brunson. So
yeah,
that was cool.
Awesome.
So I just think this is neat. Like, here's a company that is known for online marketing, ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson, right? And they're still using direct mail to fill up their rooms. So I think your mic went out.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Yeah. Yep. So, it's just amazing that it's kind of like Google when they send postcards to get you to buy ads, to use their ad service. Right. They suggest a coupon for $50 in the mail. So keep using it. We're going to keep harping on it until all the youngsters unsubscribe from our podcast.
Works every time.
Yeah. And then
I shared my strategy for, those direct mail definitely get you attention,
Oh yeah. And that's the hardest part of the game right now.
The lumpy mail, the direct mail, everybody's sending emails and people just tune it out. They just click delete. They move on because people are just so busy,
Yeah. Well, I mean, as hot as TikTok is, you could go back to singing telegrams to people's offices.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of the mashup of the two, right? Dancing and singing.
Yep.
Have your jingle sung in front of the customer.
I I interviewed a guest today on one of my industry podcasts who's she just wrote a book and she specializes in a lot of industrial market, like industrial industry type manufacturing. She speaks at a lot of manufacturing trade shows on a regular basis, but she just wrote a book about it's called Thank You Very Much, and it's a book about basically how to retain people, which is one of the most challenging things today for so many companies, because employee retention and staffing is top of mind. People are jumping ship. That's like they get opportunity to get $2 an hour more and they'll move on to the next company. So it's like it's a very difficult time for a lot of companies, and she wrote a book about it and how to keep people loyal to your company. So
we ought to send a copy of that to Kirby Smart.
Yeah,
all these
well, all these coaches, like
coaches and players too. Now
yeah.
Players are jumping with the
absolutely
NIL deals and portals, and
there's no loyalty.
No.
It's brand new for players now when they can make the kind of money they're making.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I can't blame them either.
No, you can't. I mean, you got an opportunity to make $1 million, or I think a lot of these numbers are a little inflated for unless you're a high profile.
Right. Yeah. The average kid and the average
player. You're right.
Even Division I's not.
Yeah.
But the key guys are definitely pulling in the money.
Yeah.
Crazy. So
this guest, I told her, I said, I'm going to order a bunch of your books and I'm going to edit this recording. I'm going to put it on and I'm going to use it as a lumpy mail, because
very cool.
Yeah. And she was like, because it's like the best of both worlds, because she's going to do kind of a co-promotion. And I said, send me the link to order like your bulk, because I want to order some of your books in bulk.
Yeah.
And then and then I'm going to put the audio. I'm going to include a short direct mail piece with the book with a link with a specific landing page with the link to the audio that they can go and listen to this.
Very
And
nice.
so
so that's a high value. It's kind of like what we were talking with Matt on the last show. It's like,
how do you create value,
without asking for anything, and just say,
bingo.
Hey, thought you'd like this. I know you got a company. I know talent is the hardest thing to manage and keep people. So here you go. Here's a book, and I'm the expert that interviewed them. So
that's right.
It makes you look good. It's helpful.
Yeah. That's huge because you're associated with them.
Right.
You send them a note, and I said, here's my friend such and such that just wrote this book and thought you would find it benefit to your company. Here's the link where I interviewed her. Here's the book. Hope you find it very helpful.
I can't wait to hear the results on that. That's
with no strings attached. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm excited. So I'll keep you posted on that. That's going into my shock and awe, as Dan Kennedy calls the shock and awe package.
Yes.
To go out to my prospects. So
land on their desk with a thud factor.
A little thud factor, right?
Yes. We've lost that in the internet age. We need more thud factor products, especially in the information and marketing space. But
people might be asking what the thud factor. Well, it correlates to the value that they associate with how big of a sound it makes when you drop it onto the floor, right?
Yeah. When it drops on your doorstep, you're like, ooh, it's here.
Yeah, it's there.
My 6 3-ring binders and 42 DVDs are here.
Exactly. Man, I don't know about you, but I truly miss the days of...
Yeah, I've still got like this whole shelf back here in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Is all the 3-ring, and I've got a closet full of them over here. Just...3-ring binders, and there's not even a CD player in my house anymore. And I've still got the CDs. And
did you ever do any ordering from Nightingale Conant back in the day?
Oh yeah, back in the day, I wrote for them too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had a couple packages with them.
That's awesome.
Nothing groundbreaking.
I was a regular when I first got into business and selling. I mean, even before I got into corporate B2B selling, my first, much like you get your training on the, just kind of hitting the pavement out there. And from my standpoint, it was doing like network marketing and that type of thing with a network marketing company, which, to me, it was some of the best training in the world because they provided you a lot of great systems. People knocked network marketing, but I think there's some really good lessons you can take away from that. And
for sure.
One of the things that they typically get when you come into a network marketing company, or back in the day when, it was, not everything was digital and online and you could just access everything online. They would encourage you to go to Nightingale Conant, and so I was like a frequent buyer when I first got into that of every program, Nightingale Conant, Jim Rome, Brian Tracy.
Brian Tracy for sure.
Zig Ziglar. I mean,
what's crazy is a lot of those, because those were like $169 usually.
Yeah.
They were not cheap for a CD set.
No.
But now, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of those have moved over to Audible. And
Audible, yes.
One credit.
Everything exactly. So I've actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because a lot of those old programs, because a lot of the Jim Rome stuff, I remember I had on it came in a cassette. I mean, that kind of dates me right there, but it was a cassette tape.
Yep.
And so I'm like, well, I'm never going to listen to that again. So you just chunk that, and then you go over to Audible and you find that same stuff.
Yeah, for $15.
And you just for $15, exactly.
It's crazy.
So,
yeah, I've got the whole Jim Rohn collection, like the best of Jim Rohn collection that I got 1 month, and I think I got a Brian Tracy one. So that's all of that's, and even some of you remember the Great Courses catalog?
Oh yeah, yeah.
A lot of that's moved to Audible now as well.
Yep, exactly. You can get a lot of good stuff for.
I'd say Audible is just a good example of just a simple product,
right,
reasonable price. And
yeah,
I've been a member, I think, since 2011 or something.
right, right.
Just paying their $14.95 a month every month for 10 years. There's no other
Absolutely.
subscription I have that I've kept up like
No,
that.
it's worth every penny.
It's amazing.
And I was on a monthly, but then what's cool about them is if you get if you get behind to where you're getting a credit a month and you're backlogged in so many books that you haven't had a chance to dig into, they allow you to go to an every other month. Like they'll
Oh,
bill
really?
you every other month and just get a credit every other month. So I did, like, when I start getting to the point where I've got too many credits and I haven't really read, I've
Yeah.
got this catalog of stuff just building up, then I'll go to an every other month type thing until I get through some of these books. So
Yeah. And I'm always waiting for my next credit. I'm like,
you're
come on.
going through it fast.
Oh, because when I do my walk, I do a 5-mile walk. So it's
Oh
an
yeah.
hour and 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
5 of those walks, and I'm through a book,
Oh,
easily.
that's good. That's
Probably
great.
three walks if I'm doing,
Yep.
1.5 to 2 times speed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so good stuff. Hey,
That's
you want to
good.
talk about a couple other things? One of them, you want to talk about a video and audio editing thing you saw?
Yeah.
It might be useful
So
to some of our listeners.
yeah, so this is a great tool. You can go to Descript.com. I just learned this recently from a guest on one of my podcasts, and who also she does a podcast, and she was just telling me after it was like post interview, we were just chatting back and forth, and she's like, yeah, I want to have you on my podcast. And we just got to talking about some of the things that she does, and she mentioned that, she goes, do you use Descript? And I said, no, I've never heard of it. And I've only been podcasting for 12 years and have not heard of this. But she told me about it, it intrigued me, I went to it. But this will, anybody that does um editing, and hopefully you're outsourcing a lot of your editing, but even if you outsource your editing, this will greatly enhance and improve not only the return time on what you get back from your editors, but it'll reduce your costs a little bit. Because a lot of times they will charge you based on, how much time they have to spend, on editing your audio. And this is a little program. It's called, you can go to descript.com. That's DESCRIPT.com /, well, you just go to .com, but you got the /podcasting. But
Yeah.
But you can sign up. It's a I don't know if do they offer a free trial. I know it's like $30. It's like 25 bucks a month.
Yeah. Get started for free.
You can get started for free, and you can do not only podcasts like audio, but you can also do video as well. So if you do a lot of videos, you can run this through. And what it does is it helps you eliminate a lot of the fluff, the ums and the ahs and the pauses and all of the stuff that you need to get rid of right away. It will, and this is using, Sean and I were talking before the show, AI is just really, improving, the way you can get things like this done.
Yeah. A lot of people were afraid AI was going to replace, and maybe someday it replaces a lot of things. But right now it's speeding up workflows if you know how to use it.
It is. It should supplement. It's not. I don't think it's going to replace, but it is a definite help and a supplement to anything that you already do at this point. Who knows? I mean, 20 years from now,
oh yeah,
we may be singing a different tune. But
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So it's speed up your editing, clean it up.
Script.com. Yeah, clean it up. And then you send it over. Like, even if you, like I said, if you send it over and you hire someone that edits your stuff for you, what you're going to find is you're going to be able to send them over a cleaner link, or a version of your raw file that's not as long, and it takes them less time. So you may not have to spend as much. It may save you a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Even if you're hiring this out. If you're doing it yourself, it's going to reduce your time. It's good by an hour or so.
Yeah, it looks like even the pro version, it's only $24 per month, and that's 30 hours of transcription. So most people aren't doing 30 hours of podcast,
right?
Per week. Some people might be doing a combination of video podcasts. They might start getting close to that, but I seriously doubt it
Sure.
for most people.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a cool. It's
It
definitely a cool
simplifies
tool.
things. I mean, like if you do it yourself, most of the time you're running through and editing is, take for instance, you're running it through something like Adobe Audition or Audacity or something like that. So you actually have to listen to it because, all you're seeing is the waves,
Yeah.
so you have to listen to it and you're clipping stuff out. Whereas this, you run this through the software, processes it, transcribes it. And so it's a lot faster and it's automatically helping you eliminate a lot of the stuff based on the transcription, clip it right out of there. So
It's amazing. Tools are
it
getting
is.
cooler and cooler. That's for sure.
It is. It really is.
What else
So
you got over there?
I'm going to have to probably, we throw out this description,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to vouch for just how well, I mean, she vouched for how well it works.
Right.
I'm just getting started with it, and I will probably follow up on a upcoming episode to let you know my thoughts. And if it truly does simplify the process or save me money. So
cool. What else you got over there? You mentioned some Dan Kennedy stuff you had.
Yeah, so going through some Dan Kennedy. I do want to mention I've been going through the Dan Kennedy 7 what is it? Which one is it? The 7-figure. I'm so far into it, I've forgotten the title.
Yeah. It's like how to create a 7-figure income.
Really good stuff. I tell you, one of the key takeaways, and it's worth every penny. You mentioned you heard about it from Ben Settle recently. Or he had written about it as one of the biggest contributors,
right,
to his success. So I've got a lot of the Dan Kennedy program. So I wanted to go, after you mentioned, I wanted to go through the program as well. And it's really good. I mean, a lot, you think a lot of the stuff that Dan put out is a lot of stuff that's repurposed in all of his programs, but this is good. I think the biggest takeaway is that there's not much difference between somebody that's doing 6 figures a year and someone that's doing 7 figures a year. There's not, I mean, there's not in terms of workload. Mm-hmm. There's almost no workload
or talent
talent and yeah, exactly. The amount of work they're putting in or the amount of talent they have is not, does not bridge that gap between 6 and 7 figures at all. But he says, the main thing is the selling you, right? People buy you and what you present to them, the way you present whatever it is you sell. People aren't, and that's the difference between the 7 figures is they're not selling a widget or a product or a service or, whatever they do, whatever their thing is. People aren't buying the thing, they're buying the person that's behind the thing. And so, that's the challenge to anybody. If you want to be in that 7-figure realm, is that you're creating that aura, that personality behind the thing that helps you, and you think of all of the great marketers, whether it's, all of the great people that you look at that are at the highest peak of their profession, whether it's Tony Robbins or, you name it. I'm trying to think on the fly here.
Brendan Burchard, Russell Brunson.
They have a name, they have an image, or they have a story, and they have a personality, and they've built a brand of who they are. And you're not necessarily thinking of the thing they're selling, but the person they are. And that's the first and foremost, If you mention Tony Robbins to me, I'm like, well, I know Tony Robbins, but I don't know specifically what he's telling, what his message is. I just know Tony Robbins is the guy. He's the guru behind the self-improvement and the self-help. But if you tell me one thing, one message, or one thing that he sells, don't know. I just know Tony Robbins, right?
Yeah. Well, it's true in in your business, my business, people want the goods and services we offer, but they're making their decision based on their trust in us as people.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, people hire me to do copy because they believe I can do the copy more than they believe in the copy that I actually write. I know that sounds weird, but that's really what people buy. They buy the person they're dealing with.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's why it's so important for companies to have personalities.
Oh yeah.
Is because if you don't have a face for the brand, then the brand itself needs to have a personality so people feel that connection with it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I use the example, I was telling you before the show, I use the example of, podcasting. My industry is a way to create a brand around who I am. And I know in our industry, we've got a huge, it's like the Super Bowl of trade show and expos that comes up in October. It's the big event.
Yeah.
And it's out in California. And so, because I do a podcast on a regular basis and create that consistency and associate my name with, that podcast, I had one of the trade associations and the company that creates this huge event every year that's behind it. They're the organizer and the association together. They put this event together. They reach out to me this past week and like, hey, we want you to be the face of, the podcasting at our event. We want to promote you. We want to have you on front and center on the stage. And, it's like, cool. That's great, man.
Let's do it.
Go for it. But I think that's what you got to do, man. You've got to have something behind what you do to create for people to get behind you and, create value in so many different ways. Obviously, I promote them on a regular basis on my podcast. I promote the association and, provide them value, and you've got to give. But it's just an example of like, creating that aura, creating that face of what you do. And I'm already trying to, think of ways, because they're promoting my podcast out at this event in October, but putting together, handouts and things like that. I was kind of, our buddy David and I, we were having a discussion this week, and we were just talking about like, hiring local talent there and out in Anaheim, just to hand out stuff, be there at the booth that I'm at, or at the studio booth that I'm at doing my podcast, really just talking to people, answering questions, putting up a mic to people. And so that's what kind of the thing that I want to do to kind of create that, that perception. People come up to you, kind of like, how Dan Kennedy talks about how everybody scripts something, it's like, Tony Robbins, you go to an event, everything's scripted, there's nothing, there's no guesswork to that. So I want to create a very scriptable event, where I can have somebody that's really, kind of helping me along the way as I'm doing a lot of the interviews at this event coming up. So, and then a lot of value where all of these people, the list that I'm, their email list, they're putting me on their email list, and then they're giving me their email list so I can shoot out to them and reach out to these companies. And there's a lot of companies at this event, a lot of huge companies, that are terrible at marketing. So
yeah, you should, since you'll be in Anaheim, you should see if you can get Billy Bean to stop by and say hello.
Billy Bean. All right. Yeah.
The Moneyball.
Yeah.
Anaheim Angels, I guess.
Oh yeah. That would be awesome. Man, yeah. That's one of my all-time favorite movie.
Yeah, I know, right? So I guess he's in Oakland actually.
Yeah.
But it's right up the road, right? So
yeah, only a few hours.
He'll stop by for you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Maybe who knows? Maybe they'll be, of course, that's in October. That's the World Series, but
yeah.
But
yeah.
So just getting people, getting celebrities like that to endorse you is another, that's another great example. If you get a hold of people like that, that'll endorse you, or even that you can associate with, makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. So what you were going to say something earlier about the Dan Kennedy stuff? There was something in there you saw? Figure course.
Yeah. I think it was, like I said, it was the takeaways of, being creating that aura, in your own
Okay.
personality,
Yeah.
and in your own backstory.
Yeah.
You know,
Being
those
bigger
are
than life.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
I
hard
think,
for people. I mean, for people that are introverts, it's very difficult.
yeah.
You know, it's but you got to realize, you know, and one of the key points he says is like most of the people are going to be turned off by it, but there's always that 30%, or you know, whether it's 25 or 30% that's going to be just hooked onto it.
Yeah.
And those are the people, you know, and the people, you know, the crazy secret is the people that go do the 7-figure route are so big, you know, bigger than life. Most people are turned off by it, but they're not, you know, that's not their core audience. That's not who they're looking for. The people that are turned off, they're looking for the
Well,
people that are engaged
well, you know
and
what? The
love it.
thing is, we're kind of in a video world right now. So a lot of people think you either have to do this,
Mhm.
as on a stage or in video. But the
Yeah.
truth is you can have a bigger than life personality in print.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, Dan himself was actually most of his career, people
Yeah.
know him in the way he writes, not the way he speaks or
Yes.
the way he doesn't
Right.
do video really. Um, so really,
No, and that's part of the attraction is like
yeah,
he's created that aura around. He doesn't get out.
yeah, you're not gonna find me. You're not gonna just see
He's
me.
a
I'm not
hermit.
giving away my best stuff for
That's right.
free.
Right.
Another guy that
He's
comes to mind is like Mark Manson with his
yeah.
books.
Mhm.
You don't see him doing all kinds of social media stuff. He knows
Right.
he's a writer, so he writes and he
Right.
writes aggressively and he writes,
Mhm.
so I think that's important, especially for introverts, is like you can create that same character without having to
Sure.
show up on TikTok or Instagram or
No
video
doubt.
in
No
general.
doubt. Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, it's even more in some degrees, it's even more effective because people are
There's a little more
attracted to
mystique.
something there's a less availability, you know,
Yeah,
so to
it's
speak. You know, the lack of availability to a Dan Kennedy makes it super intriguing
yeah,
and interesting and more
yeah.
attractive, you know.
It adds that mystique and that mystery,
Yeah.
to it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't have to go out there and dance on TikTok or,
No.
come up with a crazy,
Mm-mm.
whatever
Mm-mm.
uniform, Tim Davis, he's a great example of like getting out there physically and wearing the jacket
Yeah.
and all that kind of
Absolutely.
stuff. But yeah, you don't have to do that. You can.
No. You can, but yeah,
You could
exactly.
do a podcast just as easily. You could do writing.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to our friend Ben this week and I was like, everybody's going all in on video. Maybe I should go all in on writing.
Yeah.
Since everybody's zigging, maybe I should zag.
Zag. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, let's go the opposite way because
Sure.
people are still reading. I mean, every video has captions on it. Like people are still reading.
Yes.
They can't always have their volume on. So even if so I think for those introverts out there, just my message of hope for you. You can
Mhm.
still write. People are still reading what you write, and they'll still
Well, look
find
at
it.
Ben Settle. If you want to use a
Yeah,
younger example, you know, he's kind of the younger version. You know,
yeah.
he's a
Recluse.
copywriter, very recluse, doesn't like to do interviews, doesn't like to do videos or be out in the public, just
Yeah,
does his thing. You know?
and I get more like that every day. Like I'm like, I met with
Yeah.
somebody yesterday, and I was like, yeah, he's like 28,
Hmm.
successful, started a business at 18,
Right.
just crazy successful. And we were talking, and I was like, yeah, the older I get, the more I'm like staying home because we were talking about going to conferences and stuff, and I was
Hmm.
like, I'm going to one, but I really want to stay home
Yeah.
most of the
Yep.
time. But I feel like I
Exactly.
should get out every once in a while and
Sure. Yeah.
see what the world's like out there.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, and like you said, if you spin that correctly, you can put that make that part of your character
Hmm.
that,
No
I
doubt.
can make my money from home or, whatever your angle is, depending on who you're talking to,
Right.
build
Right.
that up, make that a little
Yep.
bit larger than life. Like,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
I haven't worn a tie in 36 years and I
Yeah.
haven't, I was thinking this year, like it's been so hot here and I just haven't gone out much and I'm just
Hmm.
here at home working.
Hmm.
I was thinking that I haven't worn shoes in like,
Oh, I know.
like maybe 2 minutes when I run to the store for something, I'll put on some shoes, flip flops
Yeah.
or something.
Right.
But like the whole summer, I would just shorts and t-shirt and no shoes here at the house, just working away.
Yep.
It's like,
That's me around the house. So of course I wear slides. I got a pair
yeah,
of slides. But yeah, I don't like to wear shoes around the house. And
yeah. So it's like you can make that into a whole story, because there's a whole
yeah,
world of people out there that have to put on their shoes every day,
yeah,
because it's frowned upon if you go in the office without shoes on.
yeah.
It's
Oh
weird,
yeah.
but it is. No
No,
shoes, no service.
yeah, no. I'm trying to think of Dan. You remind this little story reminds me of uh, Gary Halbert.
Yeah,
Dan talks about him where he shows up to an event with a shirt that says "I hate clients," and he's
yeah.
wearing flip flops and
Like
a t-shirt that says "I hate clients" and a
and like cut off jean shorts.
exactly. So I
Yeah,
mean, that's it
which is all
works
very intentional to get.
absolutely
O only the
every bit of
best, bravest people would walk up to him.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about I was actually thinking about that very story for Funnel Hacking Live. I was like, "Should I do that for Funnel Hacking Live? Should I, like, recreate the Gary Halbert
I
look?"
hate clients. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Uh, so,
Might
who
work.
knows? Yeah, I was trying to think of something, like, what T-shirt could I get printed up,
Mhm.
where I could have people come to me,
Yeah,
even if it just said copywriter on the back, that in that
sure.
environment would probably be enough.
Yeah, yep,
Because everybody
exactly.
there knows what a copywriter is and the
Mhm.
value and those kind of things. So
Yeah.
I may do something like that, or a hat or something that,
Mhm.
you know, just says copywriter.
It at least elicits some conversation and curiosity for sure.
Yeah. And probably get
Um,
some business,
yeah,
pay for the event. So,
yep.
all
All
right.
right, good
Anything
stuff.
else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well,
We I will say that these are always fun. Some of the funnest interview or some of the funnest podcasts we do is we're just kind of off the fly,
yeah,
and
this is,
I
this
think
is
we
the
get a lot of
throwback.
good feedback.
Yeah. Well, this
Interviews are
is,
good. I think interviews are always fun, but I notice, from when I go to our YouTube, most of our comments are on some of the spitballing,
yeah. Well,
persuasion by the
that's the
yeah,
origin of the show, right? And
right.
just us, you and I just hanging out at Casual Pint
Exactly. Yep.
doing exactly this. So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
One last thing I will say, and I love to make every week, or not every week, but on occasion, whether you're copywriting, whether you're sending out direct mail, it's always good to get um, just kind of away from the internet and just go out to a bookstore and get some ideas
Yeah.
on stuff to write. And so, I went by a bookstore this week, just picked up just grabbed a few magazines, and all for the sole purpose of using them in copy,
Yes.
pulling stories. And I know you and I are both, because we're older, we like to touch it and feel it. So
My daughter's same way. She's
yeah,
that whole
huh,
generation. It
yeah.
seems like they definitely like the print books as well. So print
So
is not going anywhere.
I picked up, you notice like Time Magazine and
Hmm.
I guess US News, Time Magazine, they make a fortune off of some of these specialty magazines
Oh
that
yeah,
is dedicated to one single topic.
yeah, and they're like $36 for the.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, it's like, I think that's, they don't make any money from their primary
No,
magazine, but they make a ton of money off of the specialty magazines. But one I picked up this week, and it's got, because I'm always fascinated with mob stories back in the day.
yeah,
So America's Most Notorious Gangsters, um, you know, whether it's John Gotti all the way down to some of the famous gangsters from the 40s and 30s and 40s, like Charles Lucky Luciano and
oh man, all
uh,
that stuff in there would make such a great like
oh, it's
email
perfect
sequence.
copy.
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So that's why I picked it up, is like using that in email copy and in sales copy that I send out,
yeah,
just to break people out of their uh the coma that people are in, to
or
give
even
them
like
stories.
reading each one and then doing if you're into video, you could do a
Yeah,
TikTok, like how
exactly.
business is like,
Hmm.
whichever gangster, or
Right.
what I learned about business
Yep.
from this
Yep.
gangster. Like,
Yep.
so yeah, there's a lot of ways you could take that and repurpose it, and
Yeah.
you could get full credit. Like because most people aren't reading that. So you just hold it up and say, "Hey, I was reading this."
Exactly. And these are all super short. You go through them on each one of every famous gangster ever, some that you don't even know of.
And I think it's important, like, if you're going to do that, like, be honest about it. Be like, "Hey, look, I was reading this."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't have to make it sound like it was just your original idea.
Right.
Because somebody will eventually call you out on that.
Yeah.
But if you're upfront about it and say,
"Yeah,
I read this and it was great." It's
and you can find these. You go to a bookstore, it's always it's on a magazine rack called Current Events, and it's always like the current events are what people are talking about,
Yeah.
Whether it's Globe, Inquirer magazine, all of that stuff. And then they'll hear, you'll see a mixture of, magazines that are specialty magazines that are tailored towards, you name it, everything you can think of. Like,
I've got a couple downstairs on like health and the brain and just different things that I'm interested in.
Yeah,
I love those. But they run like $17. That's, you can get a whole year's worth of time for that.
Exactly.
So, they figured it out. They're like,
milk that out for a year. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're like, oh, these specialty things we can sell for a higher price.
Exactly.
And they are well written. I mean, it's like, it's very well done.
They are.
But yeah, I think it's a great idea to use those stories as jumping off points for emails or videos or whatever you want to do.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't have to be so original.
No.
The originality is in how you share it and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Not the information itself.
Yep.
So, all right, man. Well, I'm out of beer. I don't know about you.
Yes, I am done. I'm out of Cheez-Its. I'm out of beer. So we're done for the show.
Yeah.
Hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks for watching and listening. You can find us as always over at persuasionbythepint.com. And you can certainly find us on any of your podcast channels, platforms that you may listen or subscribe to these fine podcasts. You can find us. And Sean, we'll see you next week. Hope everyone does what. Yeah, there you go. Persuasion by the Pint. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Take care. God bless.
See ya.
All right.